Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today I'm going to show you how I clean my kitchen cabinets. And I have two different surfaces here. One is a wood that is painted and then glazed over, which is the cream color. And then we have some stained cabinets here as well. And so I treat them a little bit differently, but the cleaning process is pretty much the same. What I clean the cabinets with is a little bowl of water, hot water, and then I do a squirt of a dish detergent, just a little bit on my finger, and I just rub it in there. So it's basically a diluted dish detergent. It's a good degreaser. And then I take my sock. I've cut a little sock in half, and it's a cotton sock, and then I just rub it, dip it into the solution, and then I wring it out in the sink real good so it's not drippy, and that's what I use to scrub my cabinets with. And that gets off the majority of the buildup of the cabinets. I don't like to leave thick residue or sprays all over my cabinets and my counters for that matter. These countertops are granite, and I do not use cleaners on these countertops. I just use this simple solution like this. Then I don't have residue buildup of all the chemicals and things on my counters or my cabinets. What I found that you should not use when cleaning your cabinets is white vinegar. White vinegar in the solution, if you put it in the solution over time, it could possibly damage the cabinets. Both my glazed cabinets here, this is an antique white glazed cabinet, and my wood glazed cabinet, here's the cherry stained cabinets here. They both have polyurethane coatings on top of them. And if you use vinegar, over time, the acid in the vinegar can dull the surface of the polyurethane. And the polyurethane is made to protect the stain and the wood underneath. So you don't want to really use the vinegar. What the vinegar could do is it will eat into, if you leave it on raw vinegar, it will eat into the surface and it'll dissolve the polyurethane, and then it will start eating into the paint or the stain, and it will take off the stain. And if you think about vinegar compared to wine, vinegar is an acidity of 3 to 4, and your red wines are 2 to 3. And I had red wine on a table once that was left overnight, and it totally dissolved the polyurethane overnight, a spill, and it ate into the stain of the buffet, and it pretty much bleached it right out. So if you're cleaning things like your hood vents or nicer pieces of your cabinetry, you want to make sure that you're not going to be destroying this over time. All right, I've just saturated the sock, and I just simply wipe over all the spaces on the cabinet. I open up the door and get the tops, and anywhere that I see any spots or whatnot, I give a little scrub. And this has got a really beautiful finish on it. These cabinets were actually made by my brother. He is a custom cabinet maker, he does it professionally. And so I was fortunate enough to have this gorgeous cabinets. Now, if you do have some areas that build up, just put a little, saturate it a little bit more. And if you need to put a little cloth down at the bottom here so that it doesn't drip on your counter, you can. Or saturate it with some water. I know some areas where we eat on the island, there's some buildup here in these cracks. That I needed to do that too. So soak it a little bit. Even if you put a wet paper towel and leave it in that area, if it's really built up. And once you've done it like this, then take your clean cloth, and I'm gonna just put some water on it for rinsing. And I wring out, you know, I'm saturating this sock and wringing it out completely. That way, you have it rinsed off, and they really clean up well. These cabinets were painted with a antique oil-based paint. It's sprayed on actually in his cabinet workshop, so it's an oil base. And then there's an oil-based glaze, which is really beautiful here. I actually did the glazing and spraying. And then afterwards, what we do is we spray the entire cabinet then with a matte kind of polyurethane to protect it. And this cabinet up at the top here, I can see a little bit of dust build up in that area. So just every once in a while I hit this. And about once a year I go through and clean everything really good. But I just, as I clean and cook, or as I cook, if I happen to spill something, I just clean up as I go along. And that helps keep it clean. But if I do see buildup, for example, near my oven, that's when I come back and, you know, I clean it more frequently as I see it build up. But that's basically how you clean those cabinets that have a painted surface. And I want to show you now my stained cabinets and how I clean that. For the stained cabinets, I do the same method. I have the rag, and I just go over everything lightly. And if I have any areas from this onlay here that can't get it with the rag, I just use a old toothbrush to get in. And I just rub the toothbrush into the rag to get it a little moist. And that just helps get in my little cracks if I have any food buildup or splashes. Now this area is right under the sink. So sometimes I do have some drips and things. And of course water, watermarks. And because this is really tiny areas, this is the only area that really catches it a lot. So that helps with the toothbrush. It also helps in these cracks too, to clean up any debris and whatnot. And then when you have these, let me see if you can see it here, any decorative moldings, like here, the toothbrush really helps get in these cracks to clean up. So I rub it all, scrub it all down real good, just like this. And then I go over in circular motions here, any of the larger areas. I rotate my cloth just so that I don't have any food build up and I'm smearing it everywhere. And then once I have this area done, I take my clean cloth with just a little bit of water and I rinse. But that's how I go ahead and clean it. And I think I can see a difference. I had some spots and things. Water spots will leave marks. I have a lot down at the bottom here. Let's see if I can move this. If I move this, you'll be able to see it. Let's see. Here on the face of the cabinet, which is the same, I want to scrub off any of those spots. And actually, the part that I find in my kitchen to be the greasiest, this just seems to get dusty over here. And every once in a while, I have water drips down the front of the cabinet, which I just basically just hit real quick like this. But my stove area does seem to be the greasiest area. Now I'm just coming back with my water cloth. And then of course, I'm gonna take my time after and go in this decorative millwork here. You could even use a bigger brush, but I like the smaller just because I do have lots of really tight nooks and crannies in this kitchen. So I do like the toothbrush. Now this is the side that I've done earlier. And so it's dry. So once it's dry, you can go back and add your oils. And I have this Old English, this is the Old English regular. And I also use the Old English red. Has a little bit of a red tint to it. So either one is fine. I use a clean cloth. And again, I use that sock. The oil that you don't want to use is a kitchen oil or an olive oil. Always make sure it's made for wood. The olive oils and kitchen oils will leave a buildup, and then that will attract dust and dirt and grime, and then it'll be harder to clean any of the food debris. So it'll make things worse. I use a clean cloth, and again I use that sock, and I go ahead and put, this is the one I've used before with this color, I just put a little bit on here like so, give it a little scrub, and then I just go over it with the oil. And I use a clean, dry toothbrush. For the oil. That just helps get it in the cracks. Because you don't want those cracks showing dusty or white. Now the onlays, in some cases, that's the decorative finish, are a softer wood. In some cases, I had a lot of onlays in my kitchen. And so some of them were made out of birch, some were made out of cherry. So there were different softness of wood. And so it's real important to get these pretty good because you don't want this wood to really dry out and become real brittle. And be kind of careful when you're scrubbing. And so I place this on, and hopefully you can see the difference. It's shining up really nicely. And then I go back with a dry, clean cloth and just wipe any excess down. You can wait a little while and let that soak in and then come back. I usually do a whole section and it takes me, 5-10 minutes. And I'll show you on this area of wood. It really, let's see if you can see it in the, this, you can really see the difference. And it brings out the grain of the wood and just really brings it back to the natural beauty of the way it was. Right there. And this is nice, this Old English, because when you wipe it down afterwards, it does not give a greasy feel. It's a very light oil, and I like this. I find this one works best. And once it's dried to the touch, you don't feel the residue on your fingers. And it just brings out the grains better in the wood. And there you have it. And that is how I keep my kitchen looking pretty brand new. And I want to say the kitchen's about 6 years old. And the oil really helps if I have any nicks or Mars. It helps hide any of those little imperfections as we drop things and whatnot in the kitchen. And there we have it. And when I do this, I'm sitting right now on a office stool, an office chair, and I just roll around the cabinets, and that's how I do the cabinets. So it's easier instead of bending down all the time. So I'm going to show you the comparison now. Here's the cabinets that I've cleaned, and the bottom one. And then I just cleaned the top one. And then part of the middle drawer. And then the bottom I have not done yet. It's been cleaned, but it hasn't been oiled. Let's see if you can get a closer look. It's just a little bit dingier. And you can see here where I missed cleaning a little bit. And the oil, as I clean again with the oil, it picks up. It'll pick up and clean up some of those spots. But that's basically how I clean my cabinets. But if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not already subscribed. I'm a few shy from 1,000 subscribers, and I'm trying to get my subscriber count up. So I'd appreciate any subscriptions. Thank you.